This button. Hello, we're live. Oh, I'm not. I'm crooked. uh, yeah. So we're live now. Cool. Uh, I couldn't. I couldn't set up my map before we started because there was the starting soon screen. I couldn't see myself. Okay, so we're all better. Yeah, I decided to use my starting soon screen that I haven't used in a long time. It comes with music, but the music I have is it's a mixture of uncopyrighted music, like it's free to use, and also music that I bought the rights to. Like the songs cost like $5. But every time I use that music on YouTube, YouTube gets very upset. So I'm kind of hoping I turned off the music correctly. Uh, Otherwise, I'm gonna get in trouble probably. Um, yeah. Uh, I'm here with Gik. How are you, Gik?
Hello, I'm good, thank you.
I changed my audio settings. I know, Gik, you can't hear it because you don't hear my audio settings. You hear me in Discord, but not my output. But I did change my output because my output was like garbage before. I think it's probably still garbage, but I think it's mildly better. Um, so I hope that pleases people. Uh, so yeah, I don't know. Is there any like introduction stuff you'd like to talk about?
You know, you should never ask a question. I'm the worst at coming up with small talk.
Well, I just mean like small pieces of news or something.
No, to be honest, I can tell you what my last 10 minutes were, or 15 minutes. There is a new video by the 118th, and it looks super easy to geolocate. It's supposedly a 2B9 destroyed, so a mortar. And I posted it to Defmon Discord saying it's easy to geolocate. Because I was actually hoping I could just rush through the rest of the Telegram method to get them to 0 before the stream to see if there's anything that is really relevant for the frontline still. Yeah. And some of them would potentially already look into it and find it in the meantime. Yeah, no one did. Or probably no one looked into it, to be honest. So I decided to use my last 10 minutes to try and find it because it's so easy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the easy ones are always the hardest to find, aren't they?
Yeah, it's not only really hard to find. We realized it's one of the places we looked at before and we didn't find it back then, apparently. So it's annoying, and it's going to be annoying me all night until I find it. I'm 100% sure. But I really hope some of the good geolocators listen to me right now, and please help me. Please save my night.
Well, maybe something will help you, or maybe they'll just watch you suffer, one or the other. But there was a this comment today by what's his name? I always forget his name. Is it Joran? Joran, the guy from Azov. Was he the commander of the Third Assault Brigade or whatever?
Yeah, that could be. I'm not good with that.
Anyways, here I'll show you his face. Maybe if you see his face, you'll know who I'm talking. Why is it not loading? Okay, so here he is. It's this guy.
Yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah,
I can tell faces, but it doesn't mean that I can connect them to names.
I believe his name is Maxim Joran or something like that. But anyways, he's like I don't actually know his rank. I think he's the commander of the brigade or something. He's an officer in the brigade. But anyways, this is what he said today about his position. He said, among the VDV who are standing opposite us in the Bakhmut sector, there are experienced soldiers, including those in command. We can tell by the way they set tasks and manage their forces that these people have participated in battles and commanded units. And the infantry are mostly people whom the Russian army received as a result of mobilization. The brigades are beaten, and those who remained after the last battles are supplemented with new meat. They have no shortage of equipment. For the most part, it's regular equipment, but sometimes they come across rare exhibits. But to say that they're forced to take things from museums is a stretch. So that's what he had to say today. Recently, the Ukrainian forces in this area have been celebrating that they unalived one of the Russian infantry commanders, I think yesterday. And they were pretty happy about that. Apparently, he took part in an assault, and he didn't make it. So, yeah. The news around the Klischiivka has been not happy, but also not necessarily bad. It's just everything is awful. I think is the kind of the best way to put it, is that there's a constant assaults, constant shelling, constant airstrikes. But there haven't been any significant moves on the front line. Yeah, it's just constant fighting. Every sort of fighting: artillery, air, ground, tanks, everything. So, and this pretty much goes for everything between Hrihorivka and Hrihorivka. So it's basically this whole line from Hrihorivka down to Hrihorivka. It's basically true along this whole line. I don't know. Have you seen anything noteworthy in this area the past few days?
Well, today there was, and yesterday and today, I think 2 tanks were destroyed outside Klischiivka, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Yep. There are some tanks destroyed, and
oh yeah, that's not yet mapped. The one today, the one yesterday, of course, is mapped. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I think is that we still have very little footage, considering the amount of fighting that is reported.
Yeah, the brigades, at least the Ukrainian brigades here, are not the types of brigades that tends to post much. Or they do post things, but usually like 3 months later. Like they don't really post things in anywhere near real time. Like they'll probably post like some highly edited like 30-minute video in like 3 months or something.
Mm-hmm. When was it? I think 2 days ago, or maybe yesterday, there was this GMLRS strike inside Bakhmut.
Oh yeah,
which is interesting in that consideration. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it does not get closer to the front line than that, does it?
Exactly, and they miss out this building or those 2 buildings, and they called it a Russian base, which was basically staging the troops which were intended for the attack, or for one of the attacks on Yahidne. And I don't think there can be many better places in terms of recon for Ukraine. So I'm pretty sure they mean it when they say it. And I'm just wondering, if you deploy GMLRS at that distance, right at the front line, it must be a high value hit, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's like a stone's throw away. Like it can't get closer. It's like what, 500 meters from the front. That's crazy. Or actually there's a bit more. So it's like 700 meters from the front. man, you'd think you could hit it with
APGM for sure.
yeah, like, or like a bomb. just a bomb.
Yeah, I mean, JDAM would have probably been preferable.
Unfortunately, Ukraine doesn't seem to have enough of those, or like maybe they just don't have enough airframes.
Yeah. But definitely, yeah, in my opinion, using GMLRS at that range, it must speak to something really important being in there.
Okay, so would you like to go on our spiel about the GMLRS? Because we've prepared a spiel.
Oh, have you prepared a spiel? Okay. Oh yeah, where's the video? Show the video.
Yeah, where is the video? Is a good question.
It was outside south of Svatove.
South?
Yeah, wasn't it?
I don't know. Was it this
Maybe
way?
it was there.
No.
No, it wasn't. Oh, you're on the wrong date. You're on the wrong date.
Oh yeah, forgot.
Yeah. By the way, someone just found that place for the 119th.
Nice.
So thank you for the one good geolocator.
Okay, so here's the video. So you see, it's kind of hard to see because it's like white on white, but there's this this blast wave, right? So, yeah, so it's a GMLRS strike.
And I think only the first one was a GMLRS strike. The second one was a very happy crowd.
Oh.
What do you say?
I'm not sure, but so the question here that has been asked by many, and not just about this, about many things, like maybe the video from the other day is even better example of this. What day was that? That was like 5 days ago, right? Yeah. Too far. Where am I? What happened? I need an adult. I just like I got to the right date and then I suddenly wasn't there anymore.
You jumped one more date then by accident. There it is.
That's it. Here it is. Okay. Yeah, so maybe this is a better video to show it. I'll just skip to the end. Yeah, so you have 3 trucks, right? And the GMLR hit there. So if we look at the map, the 3 trucks are right here, and the GMLR hit like right there. Why didn't they hit the trucks? That's the question being posed. Is why are the GMLRs not hitting exactly? If they're so accurate that you can hit within like 3 feet or something, why aren't they hitting the truck?
Yeah, and I can tell I've prepared a questionnaire to interrogate John and CJ, but CJ he was very weak. He said he's too afraid to do it. I think that was his wording, right?
That was exactly what he said.
Yeah, unfortunately CJ can't come, and John didn't yet respond. So I guess he's the one who's actually too worried. So we have to do it on our own, but without the questionnaire, right?
Yeah. So, it comes down to. Do you want to tell a story or just say what the reason is?
Well, I can tell, or maybe you can just open Google Maps and then pick a random place to geolocate, and basically pick the coordinates, and we could basically live test if the coordinates, if we pick the same place on Apple Maps as an example, would be the very same. Especially if there's a sloped terrain or something, that would be a live test to see.
Okay. That
would be really interesting.
Sure. I'll find a place that's like not like anywhere here. I don't know. I should go in the 3D. I'm gonna pick somewhere that's not easy. Or not hard, but not easy. Where is 3D? Oh, here's 3D.
Oh, we should have tested that before, by the way.
You're the one who wants to live test this. We're going to.
It's not gonna work, and we're gonna totally look stupid.
Well, how is it? Oh, no, I find it hard to believe it won't work. Okay, so here's the quote. Here's the thing. I want you to find uh this tree. That one.
Oh wait, you want me to find it?
Oh yeah, it's your job.
I should have looked where you zoomed in.
The because we're gonna do some live. What's this called? Mensuration. That's what it's called, right? Mensuration.
Yeah. I was really word there.
Okay, so the coordinates are roughly this. I mean, the coordinates mean nothing to you, right? Because you have to find it on your own. So there's this pond. See, like the point isn't to make this the geolocation part hard. The point is to make the you see where I am?
1 second. I need to switch to my other screen.
Okay. So we're gonna do some live mensuration here. It's riveting. Okay, so basically, when all coordinate systems have built-in assumptions and errors, etc. And anytime you say something is in a location, it comes with a measurement error. And that measurement error, it's a function of whatever tools you're using to measure, right? And the way that you're measuring it. So and when you take multiple sources of coordinates and you combine them together to create an estimate for the location of your target, that's called mensuration. So in this case, Gick has volunteered himself to find this tree that I just located on a different map that's not Google and tell me the coordinates. And we'll see if how much we agree.
Yeah. Can you just maybe zoom in so I can see the tree again?
Oh yeah, sure.
Because I think I got it.
Yeah, this tree.
It
might be a bush. It might be a bush. I'm not sure.
It should be 1 second. This, then this. Oh, it should be this one. I'm gonna give you coordinates for that one.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you a screenshot of it with it to show you what I was directly aiming at, and then see if it's the right one. But also, I tested it with the same coordinates already just now, and they are 2 different spots, which is probably just 2 meters apart, but it shows exactly the point.
Well, you picked the wrong bush, first off.
That was the first test where I didn't know where he zoomed in.
Okay. Well, that's your excuse.
Yeah. The one I picked now, I can also show that for Google, is this one.
Okay.
So here I picked the same bush for the 2, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so you picked the right bush.
Oh, nice.
And what were the coordinates? The coordinates were this, right? So
right above, yeah.
If I type that into the Googles, yeah, it's quite different, isn't it? Because mine was like right there, right?
Yep.
So
even if it's close enough, it brings across the very valid point.
Yeah. So what is the difference here? Because the difference is also 3-dimensional, by the way. So me measure, you stupid. Let me measure.
You need to save the other thing first.
Oh yeah, whatever. I don't need to save it. Let me measure. Why are you the way you are? Anyways, this is
Live tests are great. We should become scientists on YouTube.
okay. So it's 7 yards. Why is it measuring yards?
I was just gonna say,
century is
can you put that into human numbers?
Okay, so it's 6 meters, and that is we have a chart, right? Where's our chart? We have a chart because I think that's exactly the number we were going for, right? Or was it 8 meters? Where's the chart? I'll find
It was, I think one was 6 meters, but that's the, I think. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's 6 meters. Well, 0 to 6 meters is a Cat 1, right? So 7 to 15 is a Cat 2. But anyways, the point here is that if you have multiple measurements, right, they're probably not going to agree. And you're going to get some sort of measurement error, especially if you're using like a drone to measure something. And the drone doesn't have any of the fancy equipment you'd need to measure it correctly. Like if you're just using the camera and not like say you don't have lasers for distance, you don't necessarily even know where the drone is. It might have a GPS coordinate, but that GPS has its own error, and so there's all these forms of error that all compound on top of each other, and that's why the gimlers don't hit exactly. So this chart tells us roughly what the error will be given certain categories of measurement, and also I believe it's also the error of the projectile and the error of the measurement of the coordinate system, right? Both of them. But anyways, so in Cat 1, under basically ideal scenario, you have up to 6 meters of error, and in the Cat 2 you have 7 to 15. So the Cat 2, I believe, is the standard for using a gimler. I believe, like ideally you want Cat 1, but Cat 2 is what is acceptable. So up to 15 meters of error. Cat 3 is like your lower end precision guided weapons, like Excalibur and stuff like that. Anyway, this so it's a Cat 3 would be your just high explosives and precision guided with a precision guided kit. Which Ukraine does have precision guidance kits. They just don't really use them very often because they're easy to jam with electronic warfare. And then the Cat 4 and above is just normal explosives, normal artillery. So anyways, Excalibur and Gimlers and whatnot are 1 and 2. So yeah, so up to 15 meters of error is considered acceptable, basically.
Yeah. But I think what it really comes down to is that a lot of the weapons are very precise, but a lot of the times additional work needs to be done to make sure that they actually hit precisely where you want them to. Because that is one of the issues which we have just shown, that if you just look on a map and you copy the coordinates, the Gimler might not strike where you want it to because you didn't clean all the assumptions that the map you were using to get coordinates actually has. It doesn't clean all the measurement issues and so on, the angle of probably the satellite image and so on.
Yeah, and also for a long time, the United States was doing this mensuration for Ukraine. I don't think they do anymore. I think Ukraine does all the mensuration themselves. And I don't know if Ukraine has access to the same level of resources that the United States had. In fact, I'm pretty sure they don't. So,
yeah,
and
I think, Andrew, if we look at the Antonovsky strike back in the days, where one Gimler really, just hit basically, I don't know, what was it, 25 centimeters next to the other one with the perfect line.
Yeah.
You're gonna need to clean up your coordinates to achieve that.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the perfect examples to get, to get that rocket or missile to work exactly how you intend it to.
Yeah, and I don't know if this actually is relevant to what we're talking about, but I remember when they hit these, where were those bridges? Anyway, they hit the bridges in Crimea. They fired 4 missiles, and one bridge got hit by 2 missiles, and the other bridge got hit by 1, and the other landed in the water. And I wonder what happened to that 4th missile. Was that a measurement error type thing? I don't know. Also, the way that those bridges were hit, it seemed more sloppy. Like the GMLRS, they hit like in a straight line, right? Whereas those bridges seemed a little bit more random. Where they hit the bridge, but they weren't hitting like evenly. Like they weren't evenly spaced. They weren't pretty. They were just holes in the bridge. Anyways, that's our take on it. If there weren't some like fancy ball going on tonight, CJ could be here. But there's a fancy ball. Where did my map go? I lost my map.
He could be here and take responsibility.
Yeah. I've completely lost my map. I think I have to make another one. Make a new map. Boom. That was easy.
I'm trying to see if I actually noted down more questions because, one thing which we can answer without CJ or John is actually to know if there's any. Well, actually, EV shouldn't affect it that much in terms of the cleaning up the coordinates, I suppose. But if you already got unclean one, I guess EV might just make it worse. Or it might actually correct it for you.
That'd be convenient.
Yeah.
So yeah. So anyways, when it gets down to it, obviously if a giant missile falls within like 6 meters of your truck is not going to be happy. Neither is anybody in the truck. They're going to have a bad day. But we're just explaining why are the Gimlers landing near the truck and not on the truck, and the reason is basically measurement error. That's what it comes down to. There's a lot of things in life that I find, especially in my normal job, where basically all the problems I ever encounter are measurement error, and that's just the way it is. And this is just another one of them. Of course, you don't need to hit perfectly. Hitting perfectly makes it prettier, though. But you don't need to hit perfectly. You just need to get close enough to deal the damage you need to deal. And anyways, so this is a problem. Anyway, this is a question that we've seen raised a number of times, and we figured we'd address it, even if we don't have a CJ, unfortunately. Although the thumbnail today is CJ, sort of.
Yeah, it's one of the best ones, to be honest.
Yeah,
I love that picture.
Yeah, I sent it to some Ukrainians. Maybe they'll do something.
Can you show it again on stream? Maybe someone didn't see the thumbnail because they joined only when it was live already.
Okay, I have to minimize everything to do this, but yes, I can do that. I'm still.
Yeah,
I'm so many windows.
I love putting work on you.
There's so many windows. Okay, so This is the image.
So,
Yeah.
and it's mostly about the reflection in the barrel itself,
Yeah. Okay,
because that's just perfect.
Yeah, the reflection is fantastic. Oh boy. This was an image of CJ. CJ is here. But I cut him out. When you like break up with your ex and you just snip your ex out of the photo? That's what I did to CJ. Yeah.
You can place it such that the flork is where CJ was. Oh, did you already mention the flork having received his coffee?
Oh yeah. Someone donated a coffee to the flork here. He still doesn't have a name, but he graciously accepted his coffee and he says thank you.
That's so cute.
Anyways, I guess we should get to more news because we talked about Klischiivka and Bakhmut and GMLRS, and the situation here is not great, but it's stable. There are a few more comments that I could bring up if you're interested. Like for example, this one. Let me put it into a translator so people can understand it. So here's another comment about Bakhmut from another large Telegram channel. Yeah, he says that the Russians have started to show their teeth and they're attacking. The artillery is firing nonstop. They say, he says, apparently successes in other areas gave these people hope for victory, but so far there is no victory, only a bunch of wounded and dead, and destroyed equipment and no progress. So that's what he had to say.
Oh, but the last sentence, I think, says that he has no losses, which is even better.
What's that?
I think the last sentence means that he actually has no losses.
This last one? This one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he just always says that.
Oh, okay.
And that literally every post.
Okay, I thought he meant literally that he hugged all his guys, which means that they all survived.
No. Well, maybe, but he just always says that. For example, he said this the other day, which probably ends the same way. Without significant advances, blah blah blah. But anyways, the end. So anyways, he always says that. So yeah, that's just some information about Bakhmut in general. The area in the north has been had more movement, and I think it's largely because Ukraine was never really in a position that they could defend near Hrihorivka, because they launched their assaults. They tried to take Hrihorivka. They tried to attack Yahidne. It never went anywhere. They've been withdrawing ever since. Basically withdrawing from that assault. And I don't think any of these positions in between were defensible. It was more of like they really wanted to capture Hrihorivka. There was a point where they entered Hrihorivka. They were all the way back here on this street. I think they were there for a day, and then they withdrew. And they basically never attacked the town again after that. Do you remember those videos? Because there were... I remember a few Ukrainians were captured and taken prisoner. I think like 3.
Yeah, I think I do remember it.
But yeah, Konstantin knew people in that brigade, I think. And yeah, I remember Konstantin. I remember talking to Konstantin about that attack, and I remember him saying that by the time that assault had been posted online, it was already completely abandoned. So like by the time we even learned that attack happened, Ukraine had already abandoned any like any hope of capturing the town. They went in, it went badly, they withdrew, and that was it. So I think it was like a 1 day thing. Anyways, they've been withdrawing from there ever since. I kind of think where they are now will be their defensive line, but maybe they'll keep falling back. Russia appears to want to capture Bodinivka. I don't think that's going to happen, personally. But I think that's their goal. But really, their goal is to get all the way to Chasiv Yar. They really want to capture Chasiv Yar. And they really want to just take all of the ground east of Chasiv Yar. Now, you have to remember, or hold in your mind, that Chasiv Yar was the real defensive line for Ukraine this entire time. Bakhmut, this is why a lot of people were so opposed to even defending Bakhmut, because Bakhmut was not the defensive line, it was Chasiv Yar. So Ukraine using so many resources to defend a position that was in front of their line, a lot of people found that offensive. To lose so many resources doing that. But now Russia wants to break this actual defensive line that Ukraine has on Chasiv Yar, and this is a ridge line that kind of goes north and south here. And Chasiv Yar is right in the middle of that ridge, and one of the reasons it's valuable to Ukraine as a defensive position is because it's all of these towns linked together. They're all very closely linked. So it's more of an urban type environment that's easier to defend, whereas these more open areas are more difficult to defend, generally speaking. They're also more difficult to attack because they're usually giant minefields and you get covered by artillery. But these more dense urban environments, you can move around your resources more and spread out more, move your guys around, and more. You can defend a little bit easier. The other thing is that because it's a ridge line, you can hide your artillery and your equipment on the other side of the ridge. You can fire over the ridge with your artillery. It's more difficult to detect artillery on the other side of the ridge because the counter battery radars are impacted by the shape of the terrain. It can scatter the radar, so it's not as effective at picking up the trajectory of the rounds, etc. So those are all kind of reasons why defending this ridge is a little bit easier. And generally speaking, the shape of this ridge is kind of even on both sides. Like, it's not really steep on one side and then gradual on the other. It's kind of even on both sides. So the attacker and the defender don't necessarily have there's no directionality to the defense. So if Ukraine can defend the east just as well, if Russia were here, they would defend the west just as easily. That's really what I'm trying to say, is that this ridge has no directionality due to its geography and its topology. Ukraine wants to defend this ridge very badly. Anyways, I genuinely don't think Russia is going to be able to capture Chasiv Yar. If you remember back to the beginning of this year, Russia had more or less abandoned moving west from Bakhmut, and they were more trying to move up these highways towards Slovyansk with the hopes of cutting off Siversk. Obviously, that whole plan kind of fell apart, and they have been pushed back down the highway. They could restart that attack and try moving towards Slovyansk. I think that attack makes more sense than trying to get to Chasiv Yar, especially because Ukraine has retaken Klischiivka, which is the kind of the southern defensive strong point for this whole area. So Russia would really probably have to attack up Hrihorivka to get up this this hill here to attack Klischiivka from the rear, retake all of this ground, and then try to attack Chasiv Yar from the south. I think that would be more of their a more reasonable way to assault this position, which I don't see happening anytime soon. And the last one out here is gifting channel memberships. Thank you, last one.
I gotta say, I love those eyeballs. Those yellow eyeballs.
Green though.
I know they're green. They're totally green. I just want to provoke you.
Anyways, have you seen anything else about this Chasiv Yar attack that they're dreaming up?
No, honestly, I didn't see that much about Bakhmut this week.
Anyways, moving on north, there was some talk last night that Russia had advanced near Kyslivka. Now, I don't think they have. This little triangle of ground here, Russia has controlled this for a while. I mapped it on September 13th, but they've definitely controlled it since before then. That was just when I got the video. It was September 13th. So even that was 2 months ago. So even if you pretend that they only captured this ground on September 13th, this is still 2-month-old news. So this here is not an advance by Russia. It just absolutely isn't, just objectively. So they may have advanced down this tree line here. We've seen them assault this tree line multiple times. We have not seen, at least in video form, we've not seen people really dig in on this tree line. At least I have. I don't see they've dug in, but it is possible that they have dug in on this particular tree line. But even that, I wouldn't really call that attack on Kyslivka. I don't really see an advance on Kyslivka. I think what people are painting as an advance on Kyslivka was just maps were wrong before, and now they're more accurate. I don't think it's a Russian change. Now, if you look at the Russian media today, I don't know if you saw this, Gik, but the Russians were celebrating this so crazily that they have advanced on Kyslivka and it's about to collapse now. And like reading that, like actually made me laugh. Yeah, I could get like a screenshot of one of those guys. Like it's actually funny to me. Did you see that?
No, I was focusing on videos as always. I'm enslaved fully into geolocating.
You sure are.
For the audience, my slavery contract states that I don't get to read news and other posts until all videos are geolocated.
See here, this is one of the like me showing this. People might know who this is. I don't want to say who this is because he doesn't deserve it. But this is what I mean. Like the enemy is retreating. They're retreating from a position that Russia has controlled for at least 2 months and probably since spring, honestly.
But it does have 3 exclamation marks.
It sure does.
It is serious.
Yeah. They're not retreating. It's not even advanced. It's just the map was wrong and now it's more accurate. But anyways, so that's some news that I just wanted to get out of the way real quick. So in this north, Russia is certainly attacking along this tree line at minimum. They may control the tree line. I don't know. I haven't seen proof. They may also control this tree line, although we've seen videos that go back and forth on this area near Yahidne. So I don't even know. What is the most recent video here? Like we see like Russians there, like a few days ago, there are Russians assaulting this trench, right? They may have captured a trench. I wouldn't put it past them. They never showed them actually capturing the trench though. All the video showed. I talked about this with Exit. We're like these two guys. This guy was just shooting a rocket into the sky. This guy was shooting his rifle into the sky, and then we had a conversation over which of us would be which. And I think I'd be rifle guy. Who would you be? Would you rather be rifle guy or a rocket guy?
I'd be rocket guy.
Yeah, you could be just shooting rockets into the sky. So that's all the video showed though. It didn't show them actually capturing. For all we know, those two guys ran out of bullets and rockets and ran away. But maybe they captured it. I don't know.
Yeah, see, if I'm rocket guy, I can run away faster or sooner than you can.
I guess
I'm gonna run out of ammo sooner. So that was my reasoning.
I'm not gonna shoot until I run out of ammo. I'm gonna shoot until you run out of ammo.
Yeah, okay. Be my guest. Let's go.
But yeah, this whole area, there's tons of combat. There's assaults every day, like double-digit assaults, like 10, 20 assaults per day, throughout this entire line of contact from Liman Pershi all the way down to Kyslivka, and probably even further south. But we don't really get much news south of Kyslivka, like literally nothing. Like this, like I can't even remember the like. We occasionally get drone footage, but that's it. No written reports or anything. So yeah, there's just constant fighting here, and there doesn't appear to be any significant changes. We do know that Russia is slowly advancing. We know that Russia very ridiculously outnumbers Ukraine, and they're using that numerical advantage to press forward. And we do know that Ukraine does successfully counterattack. Like Ukraine might control this tree line here. We know that they did an assault here. I can't remember what day it was. The 15th or whatever. Anyway, they did an assault on this tree line. They took POWs. They may have captured the whole tree line. They may have entered it, cleared it, and left, which is a common tactic to just clear the tree line and then immediately leave it. Because controlling the tree line might take too many resources, it might not be worth it. So we do know that Ukraine does successfully counterattack. We know that they successfully counterattacked this tree line near Yahidne. So and they have also successfully counterattacked near Vilshana in the past, not recently, but in the past. So that's this whole area. That's all I really have to say. There's no changes that I know of, regardless of what the Russian propaganda wants us all to believe. So now getting down towards I'll call it Shumy.
But Horlivka is encircled.
I'm just gonna call it Shumy. We could call it Pivdena. Do you want to call it Pivdena?
I want to call it Horlivka.
Horlivka. There's multiple towns in between there. Anyways, here the other day. What day was this? Tuesday?
Oh, I don't
Wednesday?
remember. I was having fever, so my memory is weak this week. I think it wasn't that long ago. I think it was 2 days ago, wasn't it? Can't you just go back and on the map?
Yeah. Anyways, I think it was Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday. It's the 15th. It was the 15th. Yeah, it's Wednesday. Okay. So on Wednesday, I woke up in the morning, which in Ukraine is like the middle of the afternoon, and I was I was reading, and all these Russians were complaining about a successful Ukrainian assault near Shumy. And they were saying that Ukraine had attacked and captured a waste heap. So these are all waste heaps. Here, I'll go into 3D and we can see how wasty and heapy it is. So the three-dimensionality of this is actually quite interesting. So imagine, so these are exaggerated by 300%. I'll play it down to just normal, so it's not as wacky, because these are very exaggerated. Okay, so they basically said that Ukraine had assaulted and captured a waste heap, very specifically this one over here, and that they had advanced further and had been pushed back to this position. Oh, whoops. So that they advanced further and been pushed back to this position. Now, how much further? Well, there's more video that came out today that is presumably from Wednesday or Tuesday that showed Ukraine even further up than what we had initially. So we initially thought Ukraine was around here, and now we have video of them over here. So how far did they go? I don't know. So maybe they pushed all the way to here. Who knows? Oh, and there's also shelling over here. So anyways, so we don't know
and
exactly.
Andrew, for the record, that isn't just shelling, but on that video you can actually see Ukrainian infantry in those trenches.
Yeah, you can definitely see. I guess we could show that, because I don't think it's bad to show. Maybe I'll just show the Ukrainian infantry part, because there's only one shell in the whole video. Okay, so yeah, this one you can see the infantry. Now this is sped up a little bit. Okay, so it will zoom in. You can sort of see them already, but it will zoom in, and yeah, there's dudes there. Just chilling. So this video is probably from, I assume it's from Wednesday. So that was kind of the course of events, that we heard that the Russians had claimed that they pushed Ukraine back to here. And now we see that Ukraine actually probably made it to there. And I have marked basically both of these entire waste heaps as a gray area. Well, I don't know what Ukraine controls or what Russia controls currently, and typically I draw everything as conservatively as possible. Like the other day, we had heard, and I was pretty convinced that they had advanced much further than this, but I only marked this, and now I've expanded it back. That, like, this is what I thought it was like the other day. But anyways, now the Russian and Ukrainian response to this attack has been very interesting to me, because the Russian response has been much more measured and logical, in my opinion. That they said, what the Russians said, I think, is just stating facts, to be honest. They said Ukraine advanced, they captured positions, and then we counterattacked. And they said that counterattack was successful. Now, that last part, I don't know if that's true or not, but I think it's just factually accurate that Ukraine attacked and captured positions. Now, what happened after they captured it, I have no idea. But the Ukrainian response, in my opinion, was wild. It was wild. They were stating that everything that the Russians were saying is a lie. It's all fake news. None of it's real. Any evidence posted is fake. And anyone talking about it is like a Russian propagandist. And I was reading it. I was like, where is this coming from? Like, why is there so much hate?
Did you mean Ukrainian, or did you mean, people affiliating themselves with Ukraine?
Some of those guys were Ukrainian soldiers.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I could probably find some of that stuff. Give me a second. It was just crazy for me to see that. Especially when they posted image of my map, and I'm like sitting here like, what did I do?
I mean, to be fair, you can totally, put some duct tape on a soldier and make him run around the trench after, a shell exploded. And like in the other videos, we didn't see soldiers, so there was always some sort of
No, there
leeway.
was a soldier in that video.
In the other one too.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, but anyway, they like you could of course fake it. I just wonder why would you do that?
I don't know. I mean, they could have said. First off, they could have just said nothing. That's always an option. The other thing is they could just say, "Well, I hope it's true, and I'll wait for more information." That was another option. That they rejected both of those and went straight for the hate. They went straight to hate. I can't find that channel right now. I don't know why. I think I'm in the wrong folder. Can't remember what folder I put them in.
So maybe because it's so tight OPSEC and Horlivka is actually encircled, and we will find out soon enough.
Could be.
You see, I'm trying to be the positive vibe today.
Yeah. So anyway, the reason this is also interesting to me is because this initial attack, this was a non-trivial place to attack because this is a very well entrenched hill line that apparently Ukraine not only captured but pushed all the way through all of these trenches and then passed them into these even higher, even more defended positions. So these are all trench lines that go up. There's trench lines in the tops. This whole area is heavily fortified, and you're fighting uphill the whole time. And apparently, Ukraine, anyway, they entered and captured parts of it. It's crazy. This is actually like a big deal because and also, this is all ground that Russia has held since prior to the full-scale invasion. So this is I found one of those angry messages. Let's see if I can. Oh boy. Let's see if I can post the angry message. So anyways, he said regarding Horlivka, I'll say this. Anyway, said, I'm not going to make a big deal out of quote victories and distract people from the really difficult parts of the front line where we need help and media attention. Often I hear in the rear some people read good news and conclude, I don't help and everything is fine at the front. Our guys are advancing, so I don't need to help anymore. Fortunately, such people are in the minority, but if there are such people among your friends, please do not let them get away with it. Okay, so I think this guy was actually one of the more even-headed angry guys. And also, I don't think what he's saying makes any sense at all. I think, like, I don't know, like, I feel like people need any morale win that they can get right now. Because the summer didn't go so well.
Absolutely. At the same time, I'm wondering if I'm reading that in a way that some people might actually be mad that the attack actually happened because they need support on their own flanks. And maybe they don't feel like they get enough of that. So any sort of counter attack or offensive like that, in their opinion, might be the wrong choosing. Maybe that's what's making them so angry.
I mean, that could be it, but it's not like this was like 5 brigades attacking. It's like like a company. It's a small tactical attack. It's not like they committed huge resources.
Andrew, we don't know that. Horlivka is encircled by tomorrow. Do I need to stop with that, by the way? The audience will be able to differentiate that I'm being silly, right?
Yeah, and I can't find the other even more angrier responses, but a lot of the more angry responses were pointing out that Horlivka is one of the largest cities in Ukraine, not by population, but just by size. It's an absolutely gigantic city. I believe it's almost as large. I think it's larger than Makivka, almost as large as Donetsk. I believe it's larger than Bakhmut. I believe it's larger than Avdiivka, certainly. I think I believe it's larger than Dnipro, and I think it's larger than Zaporizhia. It's one of the largest cities. Now, I mean, Kryvyi is a big boy. Kryvyi is a big boy, and obviously Kyiv is a big boy. But Horlivka is an absolutely gigantic city. And one of the guys who left one of the angriest messages, I can't remember who he was. He's from Horlivka, and he was super angry. He was like, "You need to stop talking about Horlivka. We're never going to capture it, or I wish we would. I'm from there. It's my hometown, but we're not going to get it, etc."
Yeah, I think, of course, that's correct. But with all of the planning you have to do, one consideration, of course, is also what was Russia's plan. And Russia's plan wasn't to have Horlivka as a frontline city for that long. So how fortified is it really? I mean, I can't tell. Of course, there are some lines which are fortified, but some of them just broke, quite easily. So that's another thing. With Zaporizhia as an example, Russia knew exactly what was coming and they prepared for it. But would they have expected the same at Horlivka? No, certainly not. Because, their own goal was to have Horlivka out of the picture the entire time. And I'm pretty sure their calculation was also that Ukraine would never even have the idea of attacking Horlivka, because it's fortified since, I don't know, 2014 or something. And you understand the thoughts I'm having and what direction I go?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty defended, but I will state this: we're having massive buffering problems on YouTube right now, so I wonder if the replay is going to be okay, because I think the live experience isn't great.
Oh, when did it start?
I have no idea. But there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, we could stop the stream and make another stream, but I think that's the only real option for us.
Okay, should we try that?
I mean, if you want to.
Or they say that you could try to lower the upload quality, but I don't think it's...
You can't do that while...
Okay, one second. I think Erland is saying that YouTube might have server issues right now. Maybe the question is just how long will this persist?
I don't know. Should we just power through it and see what happens?
We can talk real slow.
Well, anyways, there's I don't know. Should we stop and come back in like an hour?
It depends. Do you want me to survive another day or not? Because my girlfriend, she's not gonna like that.
Okay, let's just finish, because there's Avdiivka, right? So there's Avdiivka. Let's just go to Avdiivka. The southern part of Avdiivka doesn't seem to be going well. Yesterday we had video of Russia getting pretty close to the how would you describe this? The residential area of Avdiivka. Very close, within a few hundred meters. So we have Russia advancing. I don't know how much they actually control versus what's a gray area. I don't know if there's been counterattacks, but they are advancing very rapidly towards this residential area. What do you think is going to happen here?
I don't know, because I was looking at the map today to understand a bit better. Obviously, there's the big tree line and the foresty area, which is hard to assess how fortified that is. I assume it's well fortified. But judging by the pictures around the industrial area, it seemed to have been a major defensive position. So since they quite obviously seem to have abandoned that, I don't know. Maybe you know, but I currently can't assess if they have to perform a fighting retreat somewhere towards the train line or something like that. Or what is it, a river in between, a ridge line or something?
Well, the thing is that the part that they're retreating from is the most densely and strongest defended area in the whole city.
Yeah.
And it does not bode well that you have to withdraw from here. it's to me, I don't understand even defending the city if you lose this southern area. It's rather bizarre to me. This is like the area you'd want to defend the most, in my opinion. I don't understand defending back here. Like it seems like you're just gonna take a lot of casualties.
But at the same time, we have not seen, the first videos out of the industrial zone were the Russian tank already in it, if I remember correctly. We had a bunch of drone attacks in that area on the trench lines. I remember geolocating some at least. But we didn't have much footage of fighting. So it looks to me that Ukraine had already retreated from there quite orderly and, before the fact.
Yeah, and we had been getting a lot of signs that Ukraine had taken massive casualties. But I can't remember those casualties being linked to this specific area. Everyone said that those casualties came in a slightly different place. But maybe this is where those massive casualties came from, and they just couldn't sustain the casualties anymore.
Yeah, but why wouldn't Russia upload footage? They typically, they won't wait that long with that.
Well, I mean, the casualties may have just been bombs, just dropping, 1,000 kilogram bombs over and over again.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty exposed place if you have a lot of FAPs, which Russia does.
Erland, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm very worried about this, and I also believe that if you don't stay in the most prepared defensive lines, you better pull out completely. I don't want to see another. Well, I don't know if you can call it urban fight anymore, but because Avdiivka is pretty well flattened at this point. But I think Ukraine will take way too many casualties trying to defend street by street.
Yeah, it is so worrying having to withdraw from the southern parts. It's very worrying because I honestly can't comprehend why you would even bother defending the city if you lose this area, because you're not defending the coke plant, you're not defending this urban area, you're defending here. If you lose this, I don't even see the value. Like if Russia controls like all this here, and Ukraine is defending this middle like urban residential area, that to me that's the worst case scenario. Like I just don't I can't comprehend it. I don't understand. So I think, I mean, it seems obvious that Ukraine has decided they can't defend this southern area. Maybe Maybe they'll choose to defend this forested area here. Maybe. But if you lose that, then I just don't get it. I would just pull out. I don't think it's worth the casualties.
Well, unless they have prepared similar type defenses that they can pull back to, which they believe are as strong as the ones that they pulled out from.
Yeah, but the issue though is that you don't really have roads, and the closer the Russians get to whatever you're calling a road, the more cripplingly bad the situation gets, because you have some of these like farm roads, right? That's all you got. There's like one highway. There's like one paved road. I think this is it. There's like this road that's paved, and obviously this is under very significant threat already, because Russians are fighting around here. They're like, this is where their fighting is, right here. And that's only a few hundred meters from your main supply road. So if you're going to also let Russians move up into this residential area where you have these smaller farm roads supplying it, those smaller farm roads are already under significant threat from the southern assault. The southern assault hasn't gone anywhere, but they can threaten. There's these they're not even roads. They're like paths for tractors, right? So this is all. It's all very just not very good. It's all not good. I don't like what I see happening. The only way I can see any of this changing is if this northern part collapsed and you could start using this railway, obviously not for trains, but just for driving on. And I don't see that happening, because not only is Russia not falling back, but they're pressing up, and they've basically cleared Ukraine out of this whole area here, and they're now pushing on kind of this tree line, and they're trying to break through towards Bakhmutivka. So this whole Avdiivka area is not going well.
Yeah, I tend to agree that if Ukraine should keep Avdiivka, they will have to perform a counterattack in the north.
I don't think Ukraine has the strength to break this northern attack. I don't think they have the ability to do it.
Depends how many forces you want to commit, of course. But
well,
yeah,
it's not so much how much Ukraine can commit; it's how much Russia can commit. Because Russia will just dump truck guys in there. Horlivka is getting increasingly built up. Russia has been just trucking guys, and not Horlivka. Hrihorivka has been getting increasingly built up. Russia's trucking guys into here, putting tons of forces here. Those forces are then feeding out into these assaults. I think if Ukraine had any chance to have a successful counterattack here, that counterattack would rely first on heavily bombing and leveling Krasnohorivka. You would have to completely destroy every structure there and every basement. You'd have to be dropping very large bombs in very large quantities. So I think that would be step one. And I don't think Ukraine is remotely capable of accomplishing that, let alone the steps that would come after that.
I think you were talking about, or very, very rationally about pulling out of Avdiivka. But I think you should also state the value of Avdiivka in moral senses, and as a frontline city since 2014 and so on. And what a huge blow pulling out will be to the morale of soldiers.
Oh, it's terrible. It's awful. I mean, I don't know about the morale of soldiers, but losing Avdiivka is a really awful thing to have happen. The military significance of this is enormous, and I think part of the reason Ukraine is probably I mean I don't see how you can avoid it at this point, but part of the reason they're going to lose Avdiivka is because instead of doing something logical and boring like protecting their flanks and pushing Russia back in key tactical areas, and they decided to launch that huge monkey breach on Robotina. So that's where Ukraine spent all of its resources, trying to take back Tokmak as if they were fighting some Twitter war, So instead of using those resources more wisely and doing something like taking back Hrihorivka, which is, if I were in charge, it would have been one of my priorities. It wouldn't have been my number one priority, but it would have been probably number 3, probably 2 or 3. To take back Hrihorivka, push them back to. I would want to push them back over the highway here. To basically push the front line back to Novoselivska. That this would have been probably my second or third priority. Hey, our stream health is back. We're back, baby. But anyways, this would have been probably my second or third priority. My first priority, if I were in charge, would have been taking this oil refinery. So this would be my number one priority, and Hrihorivka probably would have been second or third. But instead, I went for Robotina, and I think that was a total disaster and had no chance of success. I can't. I don't know why they did it, but they did, and this is losing Avdiivka is probably one of the major fallouts of that failed summer offensive.
No, there's a statement which can read as a question, and I heard of this question before today. The fallback line, does it exist? Because that is one of my very big worries.
Well, I think Ukraine's main defense is basically here. I'm going to do something very stupid. I'm going to draw a path using this path tool. This path tool.
Why don't you draw it on? Because you want to then still move around. Okay. I was going to suggest you use your own map. Okay, I see what you're doing.
I think
that's a task for Martin to allow that on your map.
Yeah, Martin. So, I think this is kind of Ukraine's main defensive line after Avdiivka. Now, this northern part, I honestly have no clue where the line is. This is kind of like the southern part. This is like more behind Marinka and Krasnohorivka. Now, what is actually behind Avdiivka? I don't really know where the line would be. And also, you should keep in mind the distances between like the current line and this line is enormous. Like these are enormous distances. So I guess the most optimistic line would be like here. I guess that'd be like your optimistic line. I don't think that actually would be your line though. I think the line might be more more like that. Maybe. I very, very much worry what happens if Russia captures here. I've said this a bunch of times, but it's very worrying to me. What would happen if Russia gets there? And keep in mind that Russia is currently here, so we're not talking big distances. So Yeah, I'm not really sure where the next line would be behind Avdiivka. Losing Avdiivka, I feel that you could probably hold this southern portion pretty decently. It's really this northern part that's big question mark, and whether you can hold the north strong enough so that they don't flank the south. That would be a disaster. If they can like swoop down through Horlivka and attack this whole southern area from the north, that would be a real train wreck. That would be really bad. So yeah, it's all very very worrying. Now this kind of even more northern part, like around here, I think Ukraine can hold this part. It might not even be that far north. I think Ukraine could probably hold uh, like this line. They might be able to hold that. It's kind of everything more. This area is more worrying and south. But it's really kind of like this. This is the worry. That's the worry. It's like that circle. The coolest part about this app is there's no back button. You can't undo. You only move forward.
Yeah, send them those J dams and F-16s expedited. I guess that's the. I don't know what the solution is. Ammunition and firepower.
Yeah.
And you need well trained and not exhausted troops. Because yeah, I think you're right that Ukraine needs a buffer layer behind Avdiivka, and counterattack is probably the only way to keep it in the long run. Staying where they are now is just going to ensure more casualties and probably even how important Avdiivka is tactically, it's not going to be worth it, which is a real problem. Establishing new lines might be difficult too, even if they're well prepared.
Yeah.
I mean, how big is your confidence in how long can Russia sustain these assaults currently? Because sooner or later they're gonna need vehicles again.
Well, that is kind of the plus side of this, is that they've lost so many vehicles that they might not be able to exploit capturing Avdiivka. They might not have the mechanization to exploit. They might just be able to capture, and that's it. So that's a plus side. I don't really think Russia's gonna run out of the infantry it takes to keep attacking. I don't really think that's gonna happen anytime soon. And I don't think that they'll run out of vehicles either. I think, like, I don't think they're gonna run out of vehicles. I think it's more that they're gonna lose the ability to tap. They're gonna lose reserves. Like, they're not gonna, like, instead of having like 1,000 tanks in reserve or 1,000 vehicles in reserve, whatever, they might only have like 700, and 700 is still a bunch, but like it's not 1,000. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of more the issue that Russia is going to get into, is that they're going to have, as time goes on, have fewer and fewer vehicles in that reserve, and that reserve is what you could draw from to exploit a breakthrough. And them losing this many vehicles over such a prolonged period of time, I think that's really where Russia is going to. I think that's where the losses are coming from, is from the reserves. So I think that they're going to keep the front with as many vehicles as as they have. Like I don't think they're going to lose the ability to attack. I just think they're going to lose the ability to exploit victories.
Yeah. When you talk about reserve, you're talking about like the reserve in its entirety, right? Or are you talking about what you assume that they may have committed to that area for a given period?
I mean that I'm just gonna break it down kind of like super simply. Like they have a certain number of vehicles like here, and like a certain number of vehicles like here, and a certain number like here. I think like this is what is being reduced, and those two are basically they're moving vehicles from like this back here into these two forward positions. So as they take losses in the front, they withdraw them from like here, and as they get withdrawn from here, they get pushed up from there. But back here isn't being filled up as quickly as they're losing these two. I think this kind of rear group is the one that's shrinking, and these two forward groups, I think, are staying more or less constant. And eventually, I feel this rear group is going to get so small that they can't reinforce this middle group, and this middle group is going to be like, "Yup, dog, you need to chill out." That's how I see this unfolding, and this is as simple as I can say it. It's like,
do you want to talk about the what was it in Mariupol, the movement of columns, right?
oh yes, that was important. I would have forgot about that.
And you also didn't map it, by the way. I noticed.
Oh, yeah, I didn't map it. So today there were reports that there were Russian columns moving north from Mariupol and I think more distantly from Berdyansk. So apparently there's columns moving roughly this way. I guess I could draw that. They're moving roughly like this. And they are apparently moving towards Mikilska. Apparently with the goal of attacking Vuhledar. So those are reports that came out today. There are more details associated with these reports. I think I saved them in my saved Telegram channel. My saved messages. Let me see if I can find it. If I were smart, I would have saved them. Well, I don't know how smart I am. I think I did it. Let's see if I can find them from history. Yeah, they more specifically they were stating that the soldiers moving through here they appeared young in age, between the ages of 25 and 30 or so, and that they were moving in large numbers, and that it's believed that these forces are the forces that Russia has been training for the past year. Here's an image of one of these columns that you can see. These are all field vehicles. So yeah, they're apparently, I mean, if this is true, they appear to be moving to attack Vuhledar in a large assault.
You think they learned from the last times?
I don't know. What would you think if your commander said, "Oh, by the way, you're going to go attack Vuhledar"?
Well, if my commander said that, I would probably expect not to be sent to Vuhledar, because I would assume he's lying to me, and I would probably be right.
Well,
so I would probably end up in Novomikhailivka.
Yeah, I mean it's true they might not actually be going to Vuhledar. It's an assumption that they're moving north from Mariupol towards Mikilska. It's true that they might not actually be going to Mikilska. They could be going to Novomykhailivka. Like, it's possible.
I mean, if they learn anything from the past in Vuhledar, they will not go to Vuhledar.
I mean, they could be going. They could be going to Donetsk. Maybe, who knows? They could be going to Marinka. They could just be YOLOing Marinka. You know. Speaking of which, there was a possible advance in Marinka today. Would you like to talk about that?
It's well, actually, it's kind of interesting because they sent a drone dropping 2 smoke grenades to cover the the Russian infantry assault, and it ends up with Russian infantry climbing into that hole. So they're in there. Maybe they still are. Maybe they aren't. Most likely they are. And I mean, it's a hole in the ground. Maybe a Ukrainian drone can check it out.
Yep. Oh, the stream quality is bad again. and thank you for the donation, by the way. Yeah, there's that's more or less all the news I have for today. Is there anything else? There's stuff going on around the Dnipro. There's this drone you wanted me to map of them dropping Liturganda. I think they were politely asking the Ukrainian forces to please leave.
Yeah, I mean, I told you to map it because I thought it's funny on Russian Telegram today. It was a lot of messaging that Ukraine there is basically in a trap and that Russia is strong and is going to retake that shortly. And it's actually good that Ukraine is there because their best soldiers will be killed. At the same time, you see that drone dropping the pamphlets, probably asking, please leave. And on the other hand, what we saw today is a TOS-1 destroyed close to Krynky. And that one gave me so much pleasure because, I don't know, the last 2 weeks or something like that, we constantly had to geolocate the TOS strikes in Krynky.
Yeah.
And I think that's over for, I don't know, probably a week or two until they get a new one.
Yeah, so this was about 6 kilometers back. So that is probably towards the upper range of a TOS, I believe.
Yeah, it is. It should, with the right rockets, should be able to fire at 8, I think, but it typically fires around 4 to 6 kilometers.
Well, yeah, it's because remember the rule that CJ taught us? They shoot 2/3 the range. That's the artillery rule. So if their range is 9, that means they shoot 6. And that goes for basically all artillery. And it's for some physical reason. I don't remember what the reason was. You have to ask CJ. Ireland, do you know why they only shoot 2/3?
No, I assumed it's because I assumed that it's CJ personally only shooting 2/3 because maybe he hasn't got those strong arms or something. I'm coming for you, CJ, if you didn't notice.
May it have something to do with...
You're very quiet.
May it have something to do with barrel life?
I think it might. I think it has to do with the charge. Because you have there's the min charge, the middle charge, and the max charge or whatever. I think you typically shoot the middle charge and not the max charge, right?
Yeah, there was something, but that also had to do with barrel life, I think.
Yeah, I think it's...
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, because
max charge is a lot, so it's not 1/3 more corrosive for your barrel. It's even more than that. And I don't know if it's exponential and how the curve looks like, but I remember CJ talking about something like that. I think it might also have something to do with precision, especially, of course, unguided munitions
might become more imprecise. But I might be wrong. I'm not an artillery guy at all. I have no clue.
Yeah. I just know 2/3 rule. That's all I know. That's all I need to know, really. Yeah, that's 6 kilometers out. I think that's more or less its range. It can shoot further, but I don't think they do, or at least not typically. So yeah, there's this whole thing around Krynky.
What else was it that exploded there in that same video?
There was a BTR of some sort. I couldn't tell if it was an 82A or just a BTR. And there was a few howitzers that we couldn't ID these howitzers. They were just sparky explosions. Where was the other howitzer? One of these, yeah, that's a howitzer. But then there's this boy over here, which was a grad, and this loaf. This loaf exploded so spectacularly. It was just like it was having just a normal day, and then all of a sudden it was a boom.
Mind blown. But regarding that grad you just clicked on, I'm like, I might be a fool, but I'm sure I read that it was about Iranian ammo, which they assumed in there, and I thought it was a truck which was carrying that ammo.
It was both. There were 2 targets. You know how there was one target that was like over here, and there's another target that was over there. In the video, it says at the end, what we destroyed in this video, and then it said a truck full of ammunition, which they said was Uragan ammunition and grad ammunition, and also a grad. So they said that there was both. They very explicitly stated that there was a truck destroyed carrying ammunition, and you see that the truck is right there, and then there was also another vehicle that was in a different location, which they stated was a grad. Maybe that was the wrong spot. Maybe it's anyway. I have to look at this video again to place that grad.
Yeah, it looks like it's over there on the other side.
Yeah, like there. Anyways, so yeah, this was a truck full of grad ammunition, and when the truck exploded, and I made sure to get a screenshot of this, the truck started firing grad rockets just into the sky. That's always fun.
Yeah. By the way, I'm gonna get punished because I wrote missile.
Yeah,
it's a rocket.
You're gonna get spanked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to fix that. Here, I'll fix it.
But what would be your current prospect for the Kherson region, knowing that some of the trained forces which are probably currently moving from Berdyansk could potentially have been trained in Kherson before, right?
I think those guys were trained over there. I think these were because Russia had reserves that they never touched, and those guys, I think they basically had like a very extensive training, like a year solid of training. And if I remember right, I think they were trained in like the eastern part of Luhansk. Like over here. But anyways, they were extensively trained. They saw very little, if any, combat, and they were just getting trained. And I think those are now the guys being sent straight to the Vuhledar. Sorry, I just find that funny. It's like, okay, we're gonna spend all these resources training you and send you straight to Vuhledar. Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, but then what are your prospects for Kherson? Because my worry was that with the increasing attacks by the Russians, Ukraine would pull out. I think I bet against you when we did the little betting game
Yeah,
and said they will double down.
I thought Ukraine would just pull out. Although, to be fair, I thought they would pull out as soon as Russia really stiffly attacked, and I don't think Russia's done that yet. I thought they would already. But I don't think Russia has really attacked yet. Like they've sent in forces, but those forces, they seemed like a battalion, not. Because
Maybe they lost all their BTRs.
Because I'm expecting them to just send in like 3 full brigades. Just that's what I'm expecting. I mean, it could be that they're just completely incapable of doing that due to the terrain and stuff. Because this forest, obviously, you can't really move through very easily, and then there's 2 roads. Maybe they like literally just can't send in that many forces because this is pretty remote. It's a pretty remote place. There's 1 road in the north, and there's 1 road to the south, and well, east and west, and due south is a forest with like there's like a logging road or something through it. Like you can drive through the forest. There is a path, but typically you don't want to. It's not great for your survivability to move through a forest in heavy armor, getting shelled by everything. I don't think it's going to go well if they try to do that. So maybe they just literally can't attack it.
But can Ukraine expand it?
I think so, yeah. I think because what Ukraine needs to do is establish full control over Krynky, which they currently do not have. They do not control Krynky. So they need to establish that full control. Right now they control kind of like the middle, but not the full extent. Like they definitely don't control over here, and they definitely don't control over here because we know there are Russians moving through both of those areas. So I think Ukraine is they're trying to build up this middle part, and I don't think they're really focused on taking ground. I think they're just focused on stabilizing this middle part.
Which is basically making sure that those forces moving up and down, both on the east and west side of Krynky, are not too strong and not too free to move. And I do think that they are completely committed to this area. But I also do think that they're trying. So I talked to a friend of mine, and he said that he believes they're trying something called a Tordenskjold operation, which is this Danish-Norwegian commander from 300 years ago. That he both did it to fool his king and his commanders, and also the enemy. He made this illusion that he had a lot more soldiers than he actually had. And what he did was, when they were standing in quarters and the king was inspecting his soldiers, is that he made the last company that was inspected run down the street and place themselves further down the road for the king to inspect his regiment, so that they seemed to be a lot stronger than they were. Then the king would go and brag about this huge regiment. And then when they went on operations, they would go move their soldiers back and forth and in different locations to appear a lot stronger than they are. And from what I heard, the Ukrainians do move back and forth a lot, and soldiers don't necessarily stay for very long on the other side of the river. Some do, of course, but most of them go over. Do their stuff. They have orders, and they prepare or leave weapons, ammunition, cash, bring back wounded, and then they go back and they don't stay many hours on the other side, from what I've heard. And And this sounds very much like a Tordenskjold operation.
Yeah.
In the bigger picture, if you look at what the prospect could be, now you removed the map, but towards the northeast there, the northeastern part of Krynky, I think that was where the first more or less pontoonable approach would be. I think it was exactly there. Basically, I think you can bypass the river by the Pitstepny Lake, and then if you go towards the river north, there should be a more or less decent landing. And I think that area does provide some solid pathing, so you can potentially pontoon there and drive a lot across the more or less solid pathing. I'm not entirely sure how swampy it really gets, especially in the winter. But when looking at that, I think that was one of the areas I felt was promising if you can capture more of Krynky to actually get armored forces across. To at least make it more efficient to maybe lay as few bridges as possible.
But I thought there were pontoon bridges everywhere.
Yeah, but only on Twitter.
Ah.
Speaking of crossing, this guy, his name is Combat Hemp. He used to be a medic in the 35th Brigade. He got wounded, and I don't think he is actually in the 35th Brigade anymore. I'm not sure. He was wounded to the extent where he did not have to return to the brigade, and he was like, okay, bye. But anyways, he still supports his friends who are in the brigade, and he found 3 35 horsepower, 25 horsepower, I don't know. Anyway, he found 3 suitable engines for the 35th Brigade that cost $3,000 each. I believe they're in Bulgaria. And he is doing a fundraiser to buy all 3 of these engines. The other day, there was a delivery of engines to this area, and the brigade, I think, got 3 or 4 of those engines. And now he is trying to buy 3 more. So, yeah. I'm not sure how this fundraiser is doing currently. It's almost funded. So, how much is that? 5,000. What's that in dollars? I forget. It's not that much.
Yeah, they need a lot of engines, outboard engines.
It's $140. It's $140 is basically what they need. Probably I don't know. It's roughly $140. This is to buy, I believe, the first engine. I think $117,000 is $3,000. I think. Anyways, he really wants to finish this tonight. So, anyways, if any of you want to go donate, I don't know, if each of you donated $1. It would make a big difference, probably. But anyways, I'll put a link to this Telegram post, because I think he can take the delivery of the first engine tomorrow if he has the money to do it. So I'll put.
Yeah, they're all asking for outboard engines. It's just a strange situation for many of the organizations that have been, driving equipment over the border on demand. Basically, they're now asking for outboard engines. All of them.
Yeah.
It makes it like I have so many questions if I read that. Like, yeah, of course, fundraising that helps a lot, and units need a lot of equipment ad hoc, and maybe sometimes through official sourcing it takes too long and whatsoever. There are a lot of reasons why units rely on us basically to donate. And I will never put that into question. But if we were to consider that this is a very concerted and very well planned through approach to potentially crossing the river in a sustainable way, this shouldn't be the case, should it?
Well, I'll tell you what. If we lived in a world where you could buy ammo, they would be fundraising ammo. They're fundraise everything. Like should it, like, okay, Ukraine did a huge offensive, right? Should they have had enough medical equipment to treat the wounded? Yes, probably, but they didn't. And they needed fundraising to buy that medical equipment. What makes you think that they would have enough boats? If they didn't have enough tourniquets, what makes you think they would have enough boats?
So maybe the initial plan didn't account for the amount of boats they will lose, or they miscalculated that part.
Well, I mean, have you talked to the? I'm gonna try not to say names, but have you talked to the people about like how many drones they're given for their drone units? Because they get given like 5. They're like, here's your 5 drones, go have fun. They're like, well, if we lose one drone a week, then they're like, yeah, well, you're gonna have to get your own drones then. That's gonna be like kind of a bring your own drone party. Well, this is a bring your own boat party. I'm sure they were given boats, but they're not given anywhere near enough. And that's just, and then this applies to everything. It applies to ammo. It applies to medical equipment. It applies to everything. They're given an allotment, and they're told to do the best they can of that allotment. And I mean, if we could fundraise ammo, we would probably be doing it, but that is illegal and frowned upon. So,
at the same time, Erland, you're going to continue on the earlier story, right?
Yeah, on the boat. So the thing is that they've gotten quite a lot of small military vessels from the West, and that's very useful. But I don't think this operation necessarily relies upon them in the way we believe. If you have a small patrol boat there, you will use it for patrolling, not for crossing soldiers. And the need to put a bunch of Zodiacs, like hundreds of Zodiacs, back and forth over the river, I don't think it was even foreseen as a thing. They maybe thought they were going to have 50 Zodiacs going across the river, but what I've heard is that they have hundreds of Zodiacs going up over the river, maybe even more. And that's something I've never heard about. And the planning of this probably failed. That's my conclusion. Another thing is that military grade, even Zodiacs, are way too expensive. So you're gonna probably get 10 for the price of 100 civilian grade Zodiacs and small light boats, dinghies.
I doubt the military grade are gonna survive contact anyway.
Yeah, and of course there's
that long. Yeah.
And there's a lot of. Sorry, Alan.
No. Like, what's the biggest force multiplier? Is it 100 Zodiacs that last, I don't know, 5 crossings, or is it 10 military grade Zodiacs that last 7 crossings? You know, I'm just pulling numbers out of my head, but I suspect that they got quite a lot of this and also bought themselves, but they figured out that the civilian approach is probably actually helping them more.
Yeah, of course, comparing it to the two military vessels or patrolling vessels or whatever, I mean, you have a lot of very narrow little rivers there, or even streams, which aren't navigatable with those. But at the same time, there are so many nations which have issues contributing militarily. How hard can it be for a nation, which might even have access to sea, to deliver, I don't know, 1,000 of those small boats? And it doesn't even cost that much.
This is an approach that unfortunately seems to be forgotten for many of the countries. And yeah, I'm not gonna slam Lithuania for doing this, but they just delivered 2 NASAMS launchers. That's a very important contribution, but imagine how many boats you could have bought for that price.
Tourniquets,
but
IFACs.
Yeah, and the thing is that there are 6 total systems of NASAMS ordered from Kongsberg and Raytheon, and those are going to Ukraine in the pace that Kongsberg and Raytheon can produce them. Somehow Lithuania managed to get their 2 launchers out of, I think it's 16 in the system, into the line before Canada, the US, the next one from Norway, etc. Why didn't they buy 1,000 boats instead? Right, that's true. Or IFACs.
To understand your point, you're saying that the NASAMS that they bought is, of course, it's great, but basically it doesn't change anything in the near term because they were already in production anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Unless they gave up some position in the line of production, but they could have done that anyway and just waited for the delivery of new launchers for their own NASAM system. But yeah, the money could have been allocated to something that they're gonna get anyways. I think the schedule for the last NASAM system that has been placed order for Ukraine is like mid 2025 in the production line. So
yeah, so if any chancellor or prime minister or whoever is reading this, maybe just send a couple of thousand of those small boats as a gift, or
or like 500,000 IFACs.
Yeah.
I mean, how expensive would it be? Like 20 million bucks? I don't know. It's not that expensive. You could do it.
We believe in you.
I think 20 million bucks is way too big of a number for for those IFACs. Yeah.
500,000?
Yeah. How much are they? $100?
Yeah, I don't know.
If you buy 500,000, I'm sure you get a discount.
I was applying a discount because I think they cost like $70 each normally, so that would be like 35 million. I was taking like off half already.
Okay, 500,000. That's a lot.
You know what I'm thinking right now? Given maybe the mine danger as well, also in like sea and so on, maybe some fishermen in Romania can't even use their boats right now, or or along the Danube River or something like that. Why don't purchase those boats and give them a prospect new one? There's so many ways, because out of Romania, I assume that those boats could be at place quite early.
You know what you could do? Here's an idea. You could donate lots and lots of like little wooden cubes, right? And then you put them across the river in a big pile and make like an island out of wooden cubes. And then you don't need boats anymore, you just walk.
You're describing a pontoon, which already exists, as you know. I was sure you're going to suggest to put soldiers into barrels and then send them across the river.
So we have a question about Saladka or Saladka. Yeah, I think that's how you say it. What? there's a. So basically, we have all these destroyed vehicles. I don't actually know when these vehicles were destroyed. But what we do have is that this guy on like a motorcycle. Well, it was two guys. It was these two guys on a motorcycle. They basically drove down this street, and they identified all of these destroyed vehicles. I could probably just show this video, right? There's nothing bad in this video.
No, just destroyed vehicles. It's actually a nice watch.
Yeah. So we can...
It's on the Nalcio Twitter post. There's the video. I posted it in Discord earlier. Oh yeah, or there. How long is it? 3 minutes?
Yeah.
So in the meantime, I can tell the people that I was asked if Andrew would map those, and I told everyone no because it's past vehicles, and I just lost that bet.
But they were so nice to map, you know.
Yeah, and I can tell the team working on this, they did a tremendous work, did really great job in first getting the initial location. It worked out quite quickly after they started, but there were a lot of suggestions which were similar in how it looked. So that was great work.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll go back and describe what some of these vehicles are. So there are some rare vehicles here. What was the first vehicles? Where were they? Okay, here's the first two. I think the one on the right is one of the rarer vehicles here. So that's a hole in the ground. It was nice. So this is a BMP-1. So yeah, this isn't a rare vehicle, and this is a what is that? An MTLB? Yeah. So it's a BMP-1 MTLB. There are some rare vehicles here. It's always fun to see a rare one.
Well, I learned from Aiden that MTLB is already a vehicle which is not used anymore other than for suicide attacks. Did you read that comment?
No, but
But we see quite a bunch of MTLBs used.
It's one of the most
I think at this point the Russian army would collapse if you just deleted all the TLBs.
So here's some. Well, I can't remember what this is. That's a BMP-2, and what's the other one? I think that they're both BMP-2s. I think these are both BMP-2s. And that was a car that was also destroyed next to them. A field. Some piles of stuff. Anyways, this whole video, it's like we're going on for like a nice little stroll. It's like an evening stroll. You do this on a Sunday evening, right? Just to chill out and relax. Nice fall day. I believe that this is a T-62, I believe. And this other one, oddly, I'm almost certain is a T-64. So it has the distinctive road wheels of a T-64. This is a pickup truck. Yeah, the BMP-1 AM is rare. Rare, right? I mean, you don't see it very often. There's a lot of destroyed vehicles, and I can't remember too many of them being a BMP-1 AM. Maybe like 4 or something that I can remember off the top of my head. I don't get how often do you see a BMP-1 AM?
Okay, I'm gonna cover time now until I open Oryx.
No, off the top of your head. I can remember like 4.
You know, I'm happy if I know what that is.
It's right here. This is the BMP 1A. No, it's not.
One
That's not.
1 a.m. You said.
Yeah. So this is a BMP 2, and this is a BMP 3, I think.
Okay. So out of the top of my head, I would say that around 41 BMP 1 a.m. would have been lost, destroyed, or captured
Oh,
and
boy.
abandoned.
Yeah. So I apparently missed the. Where was it? I can't remember where it was. Oh,
car?
That's it.
Okay.
So this is the. I'll just open up my map. Fine. Be that way. Be that way. Where'd my map go? Lost my map. So for the people who didn't know what we were looking at, we're looking right here on Salatka, which is south of Novomykhailivka. The BMP 1 AM is right here. It has this turret on top. It's a fun turret. It's different. I think if you were to go back in time, knowing what you know today, and you would put this turret on the BMP-1 as the default. I think. You also may make a whole load of changes to the BMP-1, but if you could only make one change, I think this would be it. This turret is so much better. The BMP-1 turret really is a disaster.
Mm-hmm. Since we
But they had
stretch.
more-
Oh.
But they had more space in the back for the soldiers.
Who cares? I mean, it was longer, but it was short, and you had to be tiny. God, I'll tell you what. I've been in a BMP-1, and being in a BMP-1, I hate it so much. I would never fight in that thing. I could see why people sit on top of it. I never want to be inside of a BMP-1 ever again. That's how I feel about BMP-1s.
I was just going to ask Erland, when was the last time that he saw anyone inside a BMP-1 other than the driver and the gunner?
I've seen some Ukrainians, but
Okay.
I think they were far from the contact zone.
That must be super rare.
Yeah, but you're right.
So,
Andrew,
Erland, have you been in a BMP-1?
No, I have not.
It's a bad experience.
I've been inside a CV90. It's very nice.
It's way bigger.
so Andrew, just to clarify one thing, I think the audience needs to have an answer from you with regards to that. So you're saying the BMP-1 is too small? Am I correct?
Well, it's short. You can't. You have to like crawl.
Okay, so it's not spacious enough for you.
No,
Okay, but you would sit in a Wiesel.
the Wiesel is way bigger. No, like for serious, like
You can drive a Wiesel into the back of a BMP-1 probably.
yeah, but it's not about the size. It's about the efficiency of the size.
But I'm pretty sure inside a Wiesel you're gonna be very claustrophobic.
I want to see if there's a Wiesel next to a BMP.
I want to see that too.
I honestly think the Wiesel is taller than the BMP.
Maybe someone is playing War Thunder right now and can put both next to each other.
So the height of a Wiesel is 1.82, and BMP-1. This is going to count the turret, so it's not going to count. Counting the turret, it's the BMP is 1.88. So that's only 60 millimeter difference, right? But that's counting the turret. The turret has height, obviously.
Yeah, and it had significantly more height for the Weasel than for the BMP. At least I would say.
Yeah, I think the Weasel is also closer to the ground, so that height is doing more. Anyways, I would rather be in a Weasel than I feel like a Weasel is bigger than a BMP, because like a Weasel is kind of like a car, like, and also a Weasel only fits 2 people. The BMP fits like 10.
You can open the picture I just sent. It shows 3 dudes in a Weasel. I love that picture for some reason. it fits 3 dudes. That's something.
Yeah,
I mean, look at them go. It totally looks like a toy. Yeah, I bet you could go to some event, like a beer festival or something like that. Drive across and no one would look at you. You wouldn't be noticed.
I get this Fiat 500 feeling.
Great vehicle. It's a great vehicle. And
Yeah,
for everyone who doesn't know, if you open my map and you click this button right here under the flork, and you click this button, you become a Weasel.
I think the Weasel should be a lot larger, to be honest.
But this is life size. This is how big Weasels are, right?
Yeah, even if you zoom out, it's still life size.
Yeah, it's always life size. Yeah, and the other thing is that if you you can drop bombs. You see,
When did it start dropping bombs?
these are just updates. The map is constantly improving.
That's a new UAV Weasel. Oh boy.
This gotta get your.
I mean, it was made to be airborne, wasn't it?
Yeah. But anyways, I think that's all the news we have for today.
No, we have to mention one more thing.
Okay, what is it?
Because I'm pretty sure that MTLB, which catastrophically exploded, you showed it, but we didn't know the reason why it exploded back then, and now we do.
Oh yeah, because it was full of boomies. It was full of.
Yeah, and I sent the link of the video in Discord if you want to show it. It's the link to Curse and Cats at Twitter, but that's good enough for now. If you want to show it, it's got no casualties, so you can see the driver jumping out, sending it across.
Yeah.
And it's not going to make it across, let's say, like that.
Yeah.
Boom.
There it goes. Yeah, that's what happens when like 500 anti-tank mines crashes into one anti-tank mine.
Yeah. And according to some, and I quote, that's exactly what it's meant to do. They're clearing a path through a minefield.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. One mine